Falcons fans, what did we just witness? That wasn't football, that was a disaster. This wasn't just a loss. This was humiliation. A meltdown so ugly, so lifeless, that it leaves you questioning if this team even showed up. And the worst part? It wasn't against the Chiefs, it wasn't against the 49ers, it was against the Carolina Panthers, one of the worst teams in the league. This wasn't a game, it was an embarrassment. Let's break it down. From the very first whistle, the Falcons looked completely lost. Special teams? A nightmare. Muffed returns. Players slipping in the end zone. Taking the ball out when they shouldn't and getting stopped at the 5-yard line. It was sloppy, it was careless, it was the kind of football that makes you shake your head and wonder if anybody prepared for this game. Defense? Flat. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't pressure Bryce Young, and let him look far more comfortable than he should have. Remember when this team dropped 6 sacks on the Vikings? Where was that energy today? Nowhere. Bryce Young wasn't even good. The Panthers didn't play great football. They just avoided the boneheaded mistakes that Atlanta kept handing them on a silver platter. And the offense? We'll get to that nightmare later, but let me just say this. There wasn't a single area where the Falcons looked ready to fight. Not one. Coaching? Disastrous. Execution? Even worse. Play calling? Predictable and weak. I can't sugarcoat it. Shame on Raheem Morris. Shame on Zach Robinson. Shame on Michael Penix Jr. Shame on the entire Falcons team for letting this happen. Even the kicker situation was a disaster. Parker Romo, after that perfect 5-4-5 debut, he comes crashing back down to earth. 0-4-2 today. One kick so wide it looked like it belonged in another stadium, the other closer but still a miss. And you know what? Somewhere, Young-Ho Koo is watching this game, laughing. Because the Falcons cut him loose for this? This is the guy you trusted? When your team can't score, can't defend, can't execute, and can't even trust the kicker, what do you have left? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This was one of the worst performances I've seen from Atlanta in years. Maybe in a decade. Falcons fans, I need to hear from you. Who do you blame most for this disaster? The coaches, the quarterback, or the players? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because someone has to answer for this embarrassment. Not today. Not like that. The Falcons had one job: don't let Chuba Hubbard get going. And what happened? You let him cook like it was his backyard grill. It was embarrassing. Just flat out awful. But here's the thing, today wasn't about the defense. They weren't good, but compared to what the offense did, they almost deserve a free pass. Because this wasn't just bad football. This was painful. And it starts with the quarterback. Michael Penix Jr. delivered one of the worst performances I've seen in a Falcons jersey. Where was the guy from week 1? The fearless quarterback who marched down the field against Tampa and put the game in his hands. He was nowhere to be found. Instead, we saw hesitation. We saw fear. Double pumps. Double clutches. Feet never set. Eyes darting like a rookie seeing ghosts. And the result? 2 interceptions, one of them a brutal pick-six that had fans screaming for Kirk Cousins before halftime. This is the NFL. You can't play scared. You can't look like you're afraid to throw. You can't look like you're afraid to get hit. Because the second you play with fear, the game eats you alive. And that's exactly what happened. The only spark? Bijan Robinson. That man played like he was carrying the whole city of Atlanta on his back. Running, catching, fighting for every blade of grass. But when one player is your entire offense, you've already lost the war. Darnell Mooney? Forget the box score. 4 catches for 44 yards doesn't erase the drops. Doesn't erase the missed chances. When you're counted on to step up, you can't crumble. This wasn't just a loss. This was a collapse. And it's only week 2. Drops or not, excuses don't matter. You're a professional wide receiver in the NFL. If the ball touches your hands, you catch it. Simple as that. I don't care if you're coming back from injury. I don't care if the throw's a little off. You catch the football. Period. Falcons fans shouldn't have to beg their receivers to do their job. But it wasn't just on the wideouts. Michael Penix Jr. couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat today. Accuracy was gone. Confidence was gone. Timing? Non-existent. And then there's Kyle Pitts. At this point, he's just a name on the roster. Floating in and out of games, running flat routes, catching little dump-offs. That's not what he was drafted for. That's not why he's here. But does it even matter? This team refuses to use the middle of the field. The entire offense lives behind the line of scrimmage. Swing pass. Screen pass. Rinse and repeat. If I see one more bubble screen, I swear I'm gonna lose it. This wasn't just a bad game. This was an F performance. And not just a normal F, you had to invent a new level of failure. This was F+. Premium failure. The kind you pay extra for. That's what Atlanta gave us today. And the coaching staff? Don't think you're escaping this rant. Raheem Morris looked lost. Zach Robinson's offense? Predictable. Gimmicky. High school level nonsense. No creativity. No vertical shots. Just the same tired calls over and over until the defense basically laughed at us. Press coverage. Stack the line. Shut everything down. Easy. Week 1 against Tampa, awful. Week 2 against Minnesota, average. Week 3 against Carolina, flat out embarrassing. And time is running out. This isn't what we were promised. This isn't what this roster is built for. And if something doesn't change fast, the season's gonna slip away before it even starts. That was flat out embarrassing. There's no sugarcoating it. Zach Robinson needs to go. Right now. His play calling has been nothing short of a disaster, and if Raheem Morris doesn't step up fast, he might be walking out the door with him. Because here's the truth, if you can't win the games that matter, you're not the right man for the job. My confidence in Raheem right now? Maybe a 3 out of 10. 4 if I'm being generous. And trust me, that's being generous. If this was a close fight, say a 26-23 nail-biter on the road, fine, I'd live with that. Tough divisional game, hostile crowd, you take the hit and move forward. But this wasn't that. This wasn't a tough loss. This was humiliation. 1 week, you're riding high with a dominant win. The next week, you lay down one of the ugliest losses of Raheem's entire tenure. That's the problem. This team feels like 2 different franchises rolled into one, and the bad side is showing up way too often. Falcons fans deserve better than this. We waited all off-season. We believe the hype. And then we get slapped in the face with the kind of football that makes you want to shower 3 times just to wash the stink off. That's how bad it was. This can't continue. Either Raheem and his staff figure this out fast, or this season's going down the drain before October even starts. Falcons fans, I need to hear from you. Right now, what's your confidence level in Raheem Morris after this disaster? Drop a number 1 to 10 in the comments.